Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here with each and every one of you. And I know many of you were expecting our live Q&A on yesterday, and I do apologize. I had some family emergencies that I had to tend to, but I didn't want to miss this opportunity to come before you today to share on our topic for the month of March. And so in March, we're clearing the clutter and making space for growth as we continue to navigate through. So welcome to today's live Q&A, where we're going to be diving deep into spring cleaning your mind and your goals and your life. If you've been feeling stuck or overwhelmed, or like there's just too much noise in your mind, this session is for you. So March is all about making space for growth. And that means that we've got to be willing to let go of those things that are distracting us, maybe as limiting beliefs or that mental clutter that keeps us from stepping into our yes moments. So before we dive in, let me know in the comments one thing that you know you need to clear out of your life this month. It could be fear. It could be self-doubt. It could be toxic habits. And it could even be that cluttered workspace or that cluttered closet at home. Please go ahead, drop it in the chat. I want to definitely read what those things are that we are navigating through as we move forward into the month of March, because I think I heard my dad say March is the month where that has a command and we are marching forward in March. And so how can we do that unless we set ourselves up for success and clear out the clutter and use this as an opportunity to do that spring cleaning? So when we start to think about this, breaking through the mental and emotional clutter, what are we really talking about that? So let's really dive into mental clutter. Really, that is the overthinking or self-doubt that drains your energy. Have you ever had that moment where you're constantly second guessing yourself and wondering, oh, I don't know if I can do this, or I'm not sure if this is for me, or you struggle with a little bit of confidence as it relates to yourself and what your capabilities are? Well, that is what we mean about that mental clutter. How do we get rid of that? How do we navigate through that? The other is emotional clutter. This is fear or past failures. Listen, we're not perfect. I don't know about you, but I'm not a machine. I'm not a robot. So that means that I can't be programmed for perfection. I can be programmed for excellence, but not necessarily for perfection. And so the thing here is recognizing when we think about emotional clutter, this keeps us playing small. It keeps us, minimizing ourselves and shrinking back instead of showing up in our most authentic selves to accomplish what we need to accomplish. And then there's the good old physical clutter. Y'all know what that looks like, disorganization or distractions. Boy, I have tons of this in my life from time to time. And this adds on unnecessary stress. As many of you know, if you read my book, Dump the Junk, I was diagnosed with ADHD in my adult life. And so that presented to me tons of challenges all throughout my life. But then I began to recognize, okay, this neurodivergency is what's caused a lot of these things. So how can I navigate? How can I make adjustments in order to get to the other side of that? So until you clear out the noise, this is the point. Until you clear out the noise, it is hard to hear your yes. Until you clear out the noise, it is hard to hear your yes. Can anybody relate to that? Drop those yeses in the chat. Come on, put them in the comments. If you've ever felt that mental, emotional, or even dealing with that physical clutter right now, and you know that you got to clear out that noise so that you can hear that yes moving forward for you. All right, so how do we clear this color? I know many of you are like, Coach Cervola, that's fine, that's great for you, but how do I deal with this? Because I think a lot of times when we are in this space and we hear people say different things, we're like, okay, that's great. I want to do that. I want to step into that. But how am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to clear this clutter that has been in my life? How am I supposed to navigate through this? And so, listen, I'm so glad you asked. There's 3 things that I think are necessary for us in order to clear the clutter and make space for our yes. So the first thing is you got to identify what's taking up space. You have to identify what is taking up space. I love it. Thank you so much, Joe. You got to identify what's taking up space in your life, right? And think about it. Ask yourself, what is draining my energy? What is draining your energy right now? Right? Write down the biggest mental and emotional distractors that you have in your life right now. And I want you to just jot them down. It could be self-doubt. I mean, that could be a theme that you've got rolling in your head. That second guessing yourself constantly. And that leads to procrastinating because you're not confident in who you are. And so you delay in doing things that you know you should do. So what is that? What is that thing that's draining your energy right now? Or could it just be negative commentary, just getting caught up in the chaos around you and allowing that to affect you mentally and emotionally to where you can't show up as yourself? So I think it's important for us to recognize what is draining our energy and just keep the list going. What is draining your energy? It could be people, it could be a lot of things, but think about it like this. What isn't serving you well? What do you have in your life that's not serving you well? What are you doing? What are those habits that are not serving you well? And then I want you to decide what needs to go. Yes, decide what needs to go. It's okay. You can part ways. Maybe for some of you, you're like, hey, I spend too much time on social. Every time I get in there, I just start scrolling. And I'm like, before I know it, I've been in this for 3 or 4 hours and I didn't even recognize it. Whatever it may be, decide that it needs to go. Decide that it needs to go. Is it that thought that's not serving you or a habit that's not serving you? Decide that it needs to go now. And then the third thing is you got to make space for growth. And so you're replacing the clutter with clarity. So in essence, journaling, mindfulness, sitting in the space, being mindful with your feet on the floor. I mean, I remember the first time when my coach took me through a mindful practice and I was just like, first of all, let me just be real. I didn't believe that it was going to work. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to do this. But, I had all that mental, but then I made a decision that I was going to try it. And then when I made the decision to try it, I sat in the space and I was like, taking the deep breaths and just going through the process and the practice. And that made a world of difference because then I could turn down the noise. And so here's the thing that we really are driving you towards is putting you in the driver's seat, letting you take your power back so that you can actually steer your life in the direction that you know it needs to go in. Instead of always feeling like you're in the back seat trying to hitch your wagon and get in gear and figure out where you're trying to go. No, put you back in the driver's seat so that you can take the reins in your own life and keep things moving forward. So which one of these steps, whether it was step 1, identify, step 2, let go, or step 3, create space, which one of these steps do you believe that you need to focus on the most? Which step do you need to focus on the most? Go ahead and put those in the comments for me right now. What step do you need to focus on the most? All right. Now, let me get into some pre-submitted questions. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, in the comment. And if I get them afterwards, I'll still comment in there to keep the conversation going. All right. So here's the first question. How do I know if a thought or a comment is truly clutter or if I just need to push through? And I think that's a very important question. One of the ways that I like to tell people that a thought or something that you're experiencing is clutter is the theme, that it becomes this theme. It becomes this theme. And when we think about themes in our lives, they are reoccurring. So think about it like this. When you always make a mistake, do you always come down on yourself with a lot of negative self-talk? If that's you, then that's a theme. And if it's a theme, then you've got to deal with the theme. You've got to say, okay, that's the thing I'm going to let go of. That's how you know that a thought or a commitment has become clutter, because now everything around you has kind of hitched its wagon to it. Make sense? So the next question I see here is, I've cleared distractions before, but they always creep back in. How do I make it stick? Well, listen, I struggle with this. Because I would get in there. I'd be like, boom, I'm going to organize this. Boom, I'm going to organize that. Had no problem with building strategies and pulling all those pieces together. But the sustaining part was something that I didn't plan for. And many times when people are struggling with, starting something, but they feel like it doesn't stick, is because we didn't build a maintenance plan in. How are you going to maintain it? What's going to give you the warning signals? Do you know what even triggers that negative talk? Do you know what even triggers that disorganization? Do you know what even triggers that level of stress? So when you don't know what triggers you, then you put yourself in a space to where you may not repeat it now, you may repeat it down the line, but you'll fall for the same trap. And so it's recognizing, setting yourself up for success by creating your own maintenance plan and say, hey, I like this life. I like this stress free. I like that I'm not second guessing myself. What am I going to do to maintain this? And when I start to notice my behavior shifting or my habits getting off track, what am I going to do to will myself back in and say, listen, girl, get it together and get back on track? What am I going to do? And many times it's really us taking those moments to reset ourselves. When you're busy, you're going, it's hard to get back. It's hard to keep up. And when you feel like you've kind of lost your way, you always feel like there's more in front of you that you can't really get to. And so in essence, have these moments to really check in with yourself, to reset yourself so that you can have an opportunity to kind of gather yourself, bring things back into an alignment, and really move things forward. Last year, I think it was last year, maybe even the year before that, I was in a counseling session with my therapist. Yes, I do therapy. I'm an advocate for it. If you're not doing it, get some of that spice in your life. Okay. And so we were in a session, and I had been doing tons of traveling and just on the road and just doing a lot of different things. And she said to me, Servola, I know you know this, but you can't serve from an empty vessel, and you're going a lot. Every time we talk, you're in a different place, you're in a different space. Have you created in your schedule time for you to reset? And I was like, yeah, I go to bed every night. Yeah, that's my reset. And I know many of you are thinking that, I go to sleep, that's my reset. And, and we had already been working on my sleep pattern. So she already knew what the deal was. And so she challenged me to actually take time to reset and put it in my schedule. And so she said, you should take a vacation once a quarter. She was like, I know you're not going to do it once a month, but take one day a month where you just set aside time to just, reset yourself. And then take one time a quarter that you can have an extensive time where it's like a 3-day weekend or a full week, if you can do that, where you can just kind of just mentally and physically and emotionally just not be in the hustle. Just turn down the noise, get rid of the chaos, and just reset yourself. And I guarantee you, listen, since I've done that, it has really made a dynamic shift in my life. And so when we're talking about clearing out those distractions and making sure that we stick to things, that maintenance plan, that was something that I was challenged to do. And I'm a living witness that that's working for me. All right. I see one more small question in here. And feel free to put them in the chat. I can read them and answer them live as well. So what is the small action I can take today to clear my mind for growth? I think one of the small actions that you can take is like number one, if your number was, hey, I got to identify, I don't know what's cluttered, right? I don't know what's emotionally cluttering me. I don't know what's mentally cluttering me. I don't know what's physically cluttering me. I don't know what it is. Hey, Jennifer, good to see you, girl. And so making that, maybe your one step is just identifying, or maybe your one step is, hey, finally, I know what it is, but I just haven't cleared it out. I just haven't gotten to the place to where I'm not going to compromise and I'm just going to get rid of it. Maybe that's your one step. Or maybe your one step is, listen, I got rid of stuff, but I'm ready for this growth. I'm ready to take it to the next level, right? So maybe that one step for you is to actually schedule that next conference, schedule that vacation, or that one day, that long weekend that you desperately need, or hiring that coach, or setting yourself up for your summer vacation that you've been pushing off for the last 5 years. Maybe that's it. And I guarantee you, as you make those steps, then you're going to see yourself moving toward where you want to be. So if we start, and listen, it doesn't matter how small the step is, because all of those small steps add up to great impact. So it's not about just doing all the big things. I know everybody wants to do the big things. It's not just about just doing the big things. Big things start with small incremental steps. And I guarantee you that if you take these small incremental steps, it's going to set you up for success. All right. So your next yes action steps. So here's the truth. Listen, your next level is waiting for you, but you've got to make space for it. And this is your opportunity to make space for it. So if your mind is cluttered with self-doubt and distractions or hesitation, you're not going to hear opportunity knocking. You just won't hear it if you've got all of that in the way. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to commit to one thing that you are going to clear out this month. What is your one thing that you're going to clear out this month? Drop it in the comments. And then I want you to join me on the 5-day Spring Clean Your Mind Yes Challenge. And I'm going to run this from today until March the 15th. And we're going to go deeper and take real action together. And then on March the 27th, you continue on this journey with me. I want you to download the Yes Confidence Journal. And it's a guided tool to help you to keep track of your growth as you're going through this process. I love that. Thank you so much for posting that, Joe. So listen, drop a fire in the comments if you are ready to clear the clutter and step into your yes. Any fires out there? Y'all ready to clear the clutter and step into your yes? Listen, everybody, I am so grateful for each of you saying yes, and I want you to keep saying yes. Make space for growth, and I'll see you in the challenge. And if you love what you've heard today, you love this type of a live or video in this way, please just drop it in the comments and let me know that you want to see more of this so that my team and I can set that up for you. All right, everybody, bye for now, but don't forget to say yes. See you next time.